Welcome back, Woodhounds. So in the last video you saw that the structure was put up back here in the woodyard for the winter home of the Wolfe Ridge. And as you can see, I've got the Wolfe Ridge up there, and I also have a roof up on the top. And that is what I need to get covered because there's rain moving in tomorrow and I'm not gonna be able to get steel in time. So what I did is, let me show you. I ended up using those side panels that came with the pallet. They were big sheets of plywood fastened together by 1x4s. I ended up using those plywood panels to basically put a temporary roof up there on the shelter. I don't know if I'm going to be getting any steel anytime soon. I'm not sure when Slick Willie's connection with that is going to hook up and sync up, so I'm not sure. But I did want to get this covered up, and I did want to get the plywood. I didn't want it to be rained on. So I put it up there 2 days ago, and now today what I'm going to do, I'm going to put this heavy-duty tarp on the top of this shelter here, and that will be, like I said, my temporary, or possibly even throughout the winter, what's going to be, I guess, protecting that plywood up there. I also ended up bringing in some rounds of wood here just to test out the workflow. So basically right over here in this little bay is where I can bring in rounds with the tractor, either drop them off or leave the bucket here. I also had these rubber coated steel grates. And I was gonna use, I probably will end up using these to stack wood on eventually, but for the time being, this fall and possibly into the winter, I'm going to leave them over here and just split right from the splitter onto a pile right there. The nice thing with those grates is it keeps the wood off the ground. The other thing is, if I do end up clearing out the pile, I can back the trailer in on top of these grates, or I can set totes on top of them. I just didn't want to have like pallets over here because they would be too high and I wouldn't be able to drive up on them with the trailer. So I'll show you a few more details to the little wood shed here, or splitter shed, I guess. But now I have to get that tarp up there because, like I said, rain is coming in tonight and tomorrow and the next day. So I want to get that roof covered up and sealed up so no water is coming through, because the plywood didn't quite line up perfectly. There's a little bit of gap, and plus I just don't want that plywood getting wet. So, time to tarp. Tarp is on. It may not be very pretty, but I think it's going to serve its purpose. I didn't quite have it pulled all the way down on this end, and that end I had a little bit extra, but like I said, I'm hoping this is just temporary, so I'm not going to worry about that right now. I have to figure out what I'm going to do on the back side here with the extra. But like I said, hopefully this is just a temporary solution to keep the rain off for the next few days. Maybe a couple weeks, a month from now, I'll have some steel to put up there instead of that plywood, and we'll be all set. So the wood I have here is some elm that was dropped off from another urban logger, a tree service that I knew a few years back. One day he called me up, had a load of this elm that he needed to get rid of. It was already bucked up, so I was like, yeah, drop it off. The only problem is it doesn't split down very nice. What you're left with is, if those of you that have split elm, you'll know you're left with these stringy, ugly pieces. And it stinks. But it makes great wood for the boiler. So now that the roof is on, somewhat, still have that to deal with, but now that the roof is on, I think it's time to do a little splitting. I've got 3 little pieces left there, so I'll give you guys some bonus footage here of the Wolfe Ridge busting down some gnarly elm. All right, so I got that last little bit of elm that I had up here all split up over there in that pile. I do have more to bring in here. And like I said before, I think it's gonna work nice to bring the rounds right up here, drop them off. I may want to extend that platform a little bit with some pallets. I'm gonna see about that. Got some other modifications to make. So for the time being, I think it's gonna work out well. It's still a huge work in progress. But now if winter comes, if the snow falls, the splitter is out of the elements and I can still come out here and split wood and not have to worry about being inside that shelter splitting. Because when I was inside the shelter, I'd have to bring the tractor out, bring the wood in. Then when I split the wood, it was inside the shelter, so I couldn't put the tractor back in until I got the wood out. It was just a merry-go-round circus mess. I think this is gonna work out a lot better. So thanks for watching. We'll see you guys next time. Stay safe, have fun, and be cool.